So I'm just going to go through a lesson of Git Branch for those watching. These are not my slides, but I'm just going to go through it, the concepts and the understandings behind it. So basically, what we were talking about was the idea that Git branches require you to... okay, sorry, let's start again. So as we said, we were doing branching for... Right now, we've been committing to the master branch, making sure the master is constantly working. However, we probably want to do this whole idea of in good practice, master is meant to be the working version, the one that's the most stable, the one that you push into production and things like that. So the idea is that in the master branch, you keep that one going, making sure it's always working. But how do we create new features and new concepts without breaking master? Right, that's the dilemma we're in right now. We're like, okay, our website's working right now, but what if I want to do this cool little fix here, and it's gonna maybe screw around our flex or our grid, and it's pushed things all over the place? How can we do it in a safe, isolated area, and then put that into the master? Right, that's the problem. But it's also good for this situation as well. So in this situation, what we're seeing is we've got a bug in this version 1 here, and we've already jumped ahead to these versions out here, right? And in this situation, you're like, oh, far out. Let's say Ryan calls up tomorrow and he goes, hey, I'm using release 1 of your application, or version 1. And I go, okay, cool. We're actually on version 2. Would you like to upgrade? Not really. Costs too much. And I go, yep, fair enough. I get it. Is there a patch you can do? Because it's really affecting my business. And you go, okay. Actually, yes, we can probably fix it for you. And the way we would do that is we could do a branch, which is basically popping out from that section and then taking that state of the code and coming down and then creating what's, as I said, a branch, another node of this main branch here, or this leaf or whatever. And so once we've branched, we can do our commits onto that, and we can do 2 commits here, and then we can release it for 1.1. But let's assume this particular branch, we realize that, oh, what Ryan was talking about in version 1 is a bug in version 2. How do we fix it then, right? Like, we fixed it for version or release 1.1, but we didn't really fix it for version 2 or release 2. Well, so that's the master trunk that we were talking about, and that would be our version 1.1 branch. So how do we fix that? So what we can do is once we fix that version branch and we did the fix, we can do what's known as a merge, and we can push that commit into our master one, knowing that everything else works fine and we've tested it. We can push it in, and now master's got that fix for that bug as well. So that's what branching is. So you take a point, you go out, create a new feature or do, and you try to limit it to one thing at a time. So you say, I want to do animations for this. I will branch. I do my animations. Does it work? Yep. Does it look good? All good. Awesome. Now I can merge it back in. You might be like, I'm going to do the nav bar. Cool. Branch, do the nav bar in that section, merge it back in. So that's the concept. You want to have these small features as your branch. And in your assignments, it'll be really easy because you can look at it as your components. You could even go as far as you could say a page is a branch, a component is a branch. In the assignment, it sort of tries to stress the idea that they want you to branch because of different features, or not different features, different alterations, I guess is maybe a better word, where it's like, try the same application with these fonts, or try the same application with this color scheme or something like that, or change the font size or something like that. I don't fully agree because that's not how you really use it. You don't have branches for different alterations or different iterations of your application. You actually do a branch for a different feature, and that's called a feature branch typically. There's no difference. It's just a coined term that the industry uses. You say, I'm creating a feature branch, or I'm creating a bug branch, or a hotfix branch, or I'm creating a branch for testing, or I'm creating a branch for this or whatever. So that's branching and merging. Does anyone have any questions about the theory before I get into the practical? Yep.
when you're merging, does it automatically merge the code, or do you have to rewrite and copy the
No, not at all. It's one command, and as long as you don't get a merge conflict, it'll tell you that yes, there's no merge conflicts, and it'll automatically even create this commit for you, this red one here. And all you have to do is do a git push, and it'll push that commit up, and it'll know the lines that have changed in between those two versions. Yep. Yep, Jeb.
Does it rename that file to a branch or version or something like that?
Not at all. The files are going to look identical to the files you named them in the master branch. Nothing really changes except when you go Git Branch, it'll say you're on the master branch or you're on the specific feature branch or the branch you specified. Any other?
So for the assignment, we're not putting it back into the master, are we? We're just.
I think you should very much. Yeah, I think you should be using your master branch, maybe branching off, doing some small changes, and then merge it back in, because that's how you use it in industry. So I 100% do think you should, and it's very easy, so you don't have to worry.
And that's obviously then how we can get our three branch sort of
exactly. And if you do it using a feature branch, and if you do it like one feature, one branch, you're gonna go above and beyond three. You go, I don't know, how many do you think, Lavanya?
4.
Oh, way more than that.
3.5.
The number of features.
Yeah.
The number of branches.
So you might even have one just for CSS.
Yeah.
I'm going to do styling of grids in this page now. Branch it. I'm going to do this whole new page. Branch it there. And you can have a branch on a branch. That's fine too. They can keep branching out. They're like trees. They can keep going out. Just as long as they keep coming in the right way, then you won't have any troubles. Otherwise, it can cause issues. But that's what me and Lavanya are here for. We'll try to guide you in how you go about it.
I've got 2 different branches or many different branches on my
Yep.
drive. How does it distinguish between? How do you know which one's which?
So you can't. So okay. So when you switch branch or change branch, you're actually changing the file system. So the file system is changing to whatever the version is on Git. The branch concept just sits inside Git. So
so you need to make sure that you're in the same
branch. Yeah. So you got to make sure that you do your check and say, am I in this branch? You got to do that check, and then I'll show you how to do that. And then you'll realize, okay, I'm in this branch. Cool. Now I can start working. And then you can do your commit, push, and then when you're ready to merge, you go, okay, which way am I merging? Am I merging master into this branch, or am I merging my branch into master? And we'll work all that out.
And you can merge branch into branch.
Yes. Yep. You just got to be careful which way those things are going, because obviously everything is moving forward. And if the branch is back here and your branch is forward is up here, you don't. It will warn you, and it won't actually allow you to do it. But it'll tell you that branch is actually really old, and you can't merge in that direction because you're merging backwards right now. So you can only merge forwards. Yep.
But ours will kind of look like a dot with a U and a dot with a U, because the main's not going ahead from other people.
What yours will actually look like, if I can grab that whiteboard. I'll just where for people listening to the recording. Rip in peace.
Those are commits, right?
Yeah, they're my commits. Master branch. I probably. Sorry, let me do that again. Let me do it in the middle because it's the wrong way. So these are just random commits. I'm going to draw up what yours will probably look like at the end. Out here, up here. How about these ones actually? So there's your commits in here. And then once you get to this stage, one branch out here, and then another commit here or whatever, and it goes back in that way. So that's what it would sort of look like. And you'll have a bunch of these coming in now. Maybe if I wanted, I could have another one here.
Wouldn't they merge? Like,
Yeah,
merge
definitely.
conflict?
Yes, so we got to be mindful of that now. I don't know. Maybe you had some commits over here as well.
If you're doing it all on branch as well as you're doing it on the master.
You can do the first parts in master until you get to a point where you got that general structure.
Okay.
After that, I think you should start branching. I think most people are up to the point where I'd be like, you should probably think about branching. And I was talking to Caleb, I'd probably say, Wilson, you're at that stage as well, where it's probably a good idea that you start branching. I haven't checked anyone else's. I think most people seem to be on mood boards still. Chrissy, you're getting very close to that stage, I think. Maybe you could do a little bit more. Yeah. Phil, I'd probably say you're getting close to that part where you should start thinking about branching. Yeah. And maybe you as well, Adam.
Is it good practice to have your branch in a separate folder on your local machine, or
No.
no?
It's because then you're having two copies of the same repository in your file system. So that's not a good idea.
So if you decide not to keep the changes or anything,
Yeah, if you don't decide to keep the changes, just revert to another branch. Just change back to the master branch, and that branch will just sit there, never being merged in, and that's fine.
Just want to know the difference between a fork and a branch again.
So a fork is so a fork is, this is my project. I'm working on it, and then Jeb, you've decided you want to pick it up, and then do your modifications.
So
That's a fork.
That's my master of that version.
No, you're forking my project, and you're taking it a different direction.
Can I put my project back into your
No.
project in Merge?
So a fork is like I'm taking a copy of your project, and it's now in my Git repository.
Do you get all the branches as well, or just?
For a fork, is it a deep clone for a fork? Do they get the branches and the Git history? Yeah,
It's the copy of
the repository,
the
right?
repository, and they're like, even though they make any changes, it won't affect the original one.
Yeah.
But if Jeb's got like a great fix for your project,
Yep.
can he then say, hey, you should probably
That's a good question. So that's a different concept. So that's so what Jeb can do is he can pull my branch, and maybe I've given him permission, or it's a public repo. I can say, yeah, Jeb, go ahead. You pull my branch, and you can do what's known as a pull request. And what that does is that Jeb, you branch off from the master, because obviously the master has to always be working. So you branch, you do your fix in master, and then you push into the repository. So it'll be on GitHub. And then what you can do is you can ask for permission, saying, here's my fix. I want to merge this fix into the master branch. Can I do it? And I might be the admin. I can look at your fix and I say, yeah, that actually looks pretty good. You fixed my problem. I can hit accept. And that basically means that line going back into master, I'm approving that line going in. So you can't do it yourself because you're not the master, or you might not have permissions, but my approval is saying that can go in.
So they just submit a pull request, and when you accept it, it merges onto the
That's correct.
original repository.
So I wouldn't do that with a fork.
No,
I guess
a fork
that's
is
my original-
a fork is a copy of it,
Yep.
and
You just
it's
wanna-
complete. At that stage, they become independent repositories. They're two separate repositories. What you're doing or what you're talking about has to be one repository. Yeah, and I'll show you how to do a pull request as well. Okay, any other questions? We all happy with the theory now? Yeah, cool. It's a bit confusing. It's bits and pieces going all over the place. Is it down there? There we go. Should I make it bigger? Okay. So I created a Git repo for myself called Git Branch. Might be a bit confusing. That's all right. Sorry?
Is it brutal?
It's a little brutal, isn't it? So we could do a Git status, so you can see what it looks like. So I haven't got any commits to make yet. And I can also do what's known as a new command here. So if you want to write it down, it's called Git Branch. And this just lists all the branches that I have available. The green with the star is the branch I'm currently on. Yep. So make sure you have a green star. So if you're playing along, you can use your own branch, your own project if you want. We're just editing the README file. I don't mind or you can create a new file just to play around with to learn branches. But you can see there, master should all be green for you guys. Cool. So before I make any changes to my project, I've already decided. So this is the file I'm modifying, by the way. A very simple README, just has some messages I'm going to put in, and I want to put in a third paragraph now. So I've got 2 paragraphs. So before I start writing the code, I got to come back to Git, and I got to go Git Branch. Oh, sorry, Git Checkout -B, and then I put in the name of my branch. Feature. No spaces for the name of branches. It's got to be one word. Third branch. So I use hyphens to separate the words. Not camel case, not Pascal case, not snake case, hyphens. You can use snake case, it's fine. I've seen certain applications use snake case, but let's stick with hyphens. It's easier to read. So you can write that one down. This is going to be a common message, so make sure you take notes of that. So you hit enter, and you'll get this message: switch to a new branch. Cool. Feature third branch. I should have called it. Sorry, it's meant to be third paragraph, but I called it third branch. So let's go ahead and I'm going to delete that actually because I'm not a fan of that. So I'm going to first, to delete a branch, we have to actually switch back into our master branch. You can't be in the branch when you delete it. So I'm going to do a git. So this is how you switch branches. Might want to write this one down again. So it's git checkout, and then you type in, but this time the only difference is I'm not going to put the -B. The -B means new branch. If you don't put -B, it means I'm going to switch to an existing branch. So I'm going to switch to master. And now if I go git branch, you can see I've got 2 branches there. I got that one and that one. Yep, cool.
Instead of master, can you name any branch?
Name? You can name your branch whatever you like.
No, I mean like to switch to that branch.
Yep.
You just put the name in.
Yeah. So if I want to switch back to my poorly named one, I can go feature third. Oh, sorry. Yes, it is. Git checkout feature. Yes. Third branch, and I've switched back across.
What if you make a branch with the same name already? There's another branch.
It'll tell you.
It'll tell you.
Yeah, it'll tell you that's already exists.
So just to create a branch, it's just -B.
-B.
Yep.
But you got to remember that whole command. So.
Git checkout -B.
Yep, as long as you remember it tomorrow as well, or Monday, or Thursday, or the next time we see each other, I'm all good.
And you have to give it a name.
Yes. Yeah. So I'm going to delete that branch. So it's git branch -D for delete. I don't expect any of you guys to remember this one because I don't want you deleting branches because then it's probably going to affect your assignment. But in case you make a branch you're not proud of or you don't want people to see, you can go ahead and delete this. Deleting a branch will delete the Git history. So if you were like, oh yeah, I put some stuff in there, but I didn't need it right now, I was going to get back to it later. Well, you've lost that Git history now. So only delete a branch that if you're confident that you're no longer going to need that history of what you did there.
Delete all the commits you've done.
Yes, it deletes all the commits and it'll pretend as if it never existed. So that's what I mean by that history. You'll lose all of that. Okay, so now I've done another. So I'm going to create another branch. Does anyone want to? What was it again? Git checkout -B. There's the one. That's what I'm waiting for. And then I can call it. So this time I'm going to call it the right name. So I wanted to call it feature third paragraph. That's the feature I'm implementing. I'm going to implement a third paragraph for my README. I can even put README if I want. Okay, enter. So there you go. I've switched that branch now. And if I do git branch, yes, I can confirm I'm on that branch. I've got the green, I've got the star, I'm there. Okay, now I'm going to go ahead, and you're all familiar with this part. We can go ahead and write the third paragraph.
So you're not changing files.
Nope. I've just come across, so when I do that git branch, what's happening is it's going to change my file system. We can see that together if we want. What I'll do is, I'm going to, while I'm in this branch, let me first finish saving this.
So that's changing the branch name, not the file name.
No, it just changes the branch. So branch is completely different to the file system. The file system is over here. It's your code. It won't touch any of that. It won't manipulate that in that regard. All it changes is the stuff inside of it or outside of it. So I'll show you an example. So if I go, I'm going to touch to create a file, and I'll call it file1, right? .h or file.html. Let's call it index.html. Index.html. Okay, so now if I look at my folder, I've got readme and index.html. Technically, they should be on two separate branches because one feature, one branch. But just for the sake of this example, I'll show you what I'm doing. So I'm going to go ahead and commit that. So commit, what's the commands? Does anyone remember? -am, yep. Added third paragraph to readme and created index.html. Enter. Okay, that's pretty normal, pretty standard. We've all done that. Now I can do git push. Yep, okay, so the first time I do a branch, it doesn't exist on GitHub, so therefore I need to do it like this. The cool thing is you can just copy paste that if you want. It's the command. It's basically what we're doing is we're saying this branch doesn't, what Git is saying is this branch doesn't actually live in the remote server, it's only in your local. It's a local branch. In order for me to put it up to GitHub, you need to tell me which one this points to. And if you want this branch to be named the same on GitHub, then you need to set the origin of that branch and then give it the same name. And that's what's happening there. So you can just copy paste that. This is only required the first time you commit to a new branch, a new local branch. So there you go. That's done. Cool. So now it's pushing that branch, and if I might need to do another commit to it. Oh no, sorry, I've already done the commit, so it's pushed it up. So now if I flick back across, this is the GitHub page. Right now I'm on master branch, and I've only got one file. That makes sense because I didn't change anything in master, and it still says 2 messages, so I only got 2 paragraphs. And if I click here, I might need to refresh. No, I didn't. Okay, there's my new branch sitting here. I can click on that. It's going to flick over, and I've got 3 branches there. My HTML file is missing. I'm not sure why. Give me a second. Oh, for a new file that doesn't exist, I got to commit it as well. So let me see. So Git Status. See, because it wasn't added, I have to add it first. So Git add index.html, git commit -m actually added index.html, git push.
Do you actually have to specify the file in that case, or you can use?
I could probably use -a or something like that, but because it was untracked, it was like you need to track it. So now it's been pushed, and see, it's still telling me that okay, it's going to the same same branches. Now if I flick back across, refresh that, there it is. So there's my index.html sitting in there, as well as my 3rd paragraph that I added. But if I flick over to master now, it'll pretend as if it doesn't exist. Okay, make sense? Yep. Any questions about that part? Didn't lose anyone?
Can you just go back to the command about the setup string?
Which part?
The one where you like set up string.
Oh yeah. If you do a push, it'll tell you.
Yeah, if you're
But-
doing it first time, it will display
Yeah.
the origin.
Yes.
It will display it.
But this is it here. You can take a. Does that make it easier to read or harder?
Yeah, no, that's great.
Okay, but that's it though.
That's the first time you push any branch.
Any local branch.
What's the local branch?
So remember, there's a concept of Git history, and you have a history on your local machine and on your remote, which is the repository on the server. Yep. If the branch was already created on the server, you can do a git pull, and it'll come down to your machine, and then you can just do a checkout, and then it'll check out to that branch, and it'll know that this branch is connected to that upstream. Yep. Any other questions? This can get confusing. That's why I'm taking it pretty slow, making sure that we're all on the same page. Yep. Okay, cool. Looks like everyone's sort of getting it. I'm getting the yeah, we get it. Look,
Just a quick question, sorry, I mean, just to reconfirm, when you do merge a branch to master, is there any chance, or is there like no chance of you breaking any sort of code by pushing those updates across to the master branch? Or is it just purely pushing the changes that alter features, and there's no kind of overriding of different things that might break the code?
you're absolutely right. It's pushing the changes. So because again, you're working by yourselves, you will not face these issues unless you have been committing into the master branch and then not pushing that change back into your branch. Because you've decided, I want to go back to that branch and then merge it back in again. Because then you'll have a merge conflict. In those situations, I'll draw it on the diagram how it's possible to get those merge conflicts. Because it's a little bit harder to show. Okay, cool. So there's our branch. So this is the button here that Jeb, you were asking about. How do I do a pull request, or how do I commit something? And we were talking about permissions and stuff. You can just click that button, and it'll say, okay, I want to do a pull request for this particular thing, and you can do it this way. This will actually do a merge as well. But I don't want you to use pull requests unless you're working in teams. It doesn't make sense otherwise. What you should be doing is doing a merge this way. So before I do that, though, before I do a merge, I wanted to first check out what branch I'm in. I'm sort of lost now. Okay, I'm still in this branch. Now, this is what we were talking about before. People were saying, does my file system all change? Do I need a different section for this? No, nothing like that. If I want to go back to the master branch, I just go git checkout master. And it'll say, yep, you switched back to master now. You can see that there. And if I open up my file system again, you can see index.html is missing because it doesn't exist in this branch. It's gone back to whatever it looked like. So it was like, oh, that file didn't exist at this stage. So I'm going to remove it. Yep.
So that's the mirror between, so you get your local repository, or your local sort of branches and master, and then your remote ones as well. So they mirror each other once you push them.
Yes.
But you can obviously change between them locally, and they have the same reflected.
Exactly. But also, it's...
What if you have uncommitted changes on that master when you do that?
When you do the change? Yeah, it's a great question, actually. So that's another thing. If you have uncommitted changes, it will basically tell you you can't change branch, and it'll say you need to do something with these uncommitted changes, because in its mind, it's thinking, those don't exist. You've got these here. What are we going to do with them?
Sorry to interrupt. I think you can even stage them if you don't want to commit, at least
Stash.
stash them.
Yes.
Sorry, yes,
Yeah.
stash them.
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, so you have to deal with it in some way. So you either have to commit, or as Lavania's saying, you stash it.
Yeah.
And a stash is a temporary hold,
Yeah.
and it'll keep it safe somewhere. And by safe somewhere is, I wouldn't be able to point out where. Like, Git knows where it's being stored.
Give them a cache somewhere.
Yeah. It's kept somewhere safe. And if you want to apply that stash, you use the stash apply, and it'll open it back up. But best thing is, don't mess around too much with stashes at the stage. Let's just master branches at the moment.
Yeah.
So either commit your uncommitted changes, delete them, or move them somewhere else and then push them back in when you're ready. So you can see how that file is missing there now. That was the main thing I wanted to show. But also, if we switch to open up our README, you'll see, I don't know if you noticed, for a split second, the third paragraph was there. And then when I touched it, it disappeared. That's because it never existed in that version of it, or that that particular point. It didn't exist. So that's how branching works. And if I switch back again, just so feature third paragraph README. Yep, and it's come back. Make sense? That's all. And there's the HTML file as well. It's come back as well. It's in here. So that's branching, and how it works, switching between them, and how they sort of play with each other. So you don't need second repositories. You don't need to worry about naming them specific branch names or anything like that. It does all that for you. Like, just switching the branch, it'll change the history of the files to match that specific point in time. So now let's talk about merging. So to merge, what you do is you have to be on. So the merge is I'm going to merge something into my current branch. It's always I'm going to merge something into my current branch. So what does that mean? I have to be in the branch that is going to get merged into. So in this case, I'm going to merge third paragraph readme into master. That means I need to first be in the master branch, right? So what branch am I in right now? Let's take a look. I'm in feature third paragraph readme. So I'm in the wrong place. So if I did a merge right now, it would probably, I'd have to take master into my branch. And let's see that, because right now, if we had I don't know if this thing has a graph. Is it insights? Network, I think. Haha, there's the graph. So you guys can see your own graphs, by the way. I remember. You can see that that my third paragraph is ahead of my master. See how it's in front? So because of that, if I try to merge master into here, if they're identical, it'll basically say, yep, no worries. If it's behind, it'll say, you can't do that. You're behind. It's going to warn me. So let's give it a try, just so I can show you guys. So I can go git. So the merge command is git merge, and then you type in the branch you want to merge, the branch, the source of the branch that's being merged into here. So it's git branch, and it's going to be master. And it's saying it's already up to date because that's where it comes from. So it's like, no, that's fine. You've already got that code. You don't need to do it. Okay, cool. But now we want to go that way, right? So let's go that way. So to do that, I got to first switch branch. So git checkout master. So now I'm in the master branch. Awesome. And now I can do git merge feature dash third dash paragraph dash readme. Okay. Enter. And you'll see here, this looks like a commit, right? Everyone's familiar with what a commit looks like.
Yeah.
So that's actually a commit happening there and it's showing you, look, you've pushed in 4 lines, you deleted 1, whatever, and you've created this file called index.html. Cool. But that's just a commit. What's the other half of a commit? What do you do after you do a commit? That's it. So I got to do a push. Cool. And that's gone up. If I flick back, refresh, we can look at the diagram first because it's nice. It sort of pushed it back in. And in fact, it's removed that branching stage because the type of merge is, it's not a merge commit. It's a different type of merge, but that's fine.
No changes were made on master? Or?
No, because they were sort of in line. There's 2 types of merges. There's one that's called a merge commit, and the other one is called I can't remember the name. It's leaving me at the moment, but that's what's happening here. That's that type of merge. And I can't remember the exact name of it. But now if I go to master branch, you can see it's got everything. So it's got my README with 3 paragraphs, and it's got my index.html sitting right there. And that's it. So who wants to see a merge conflict?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Let's do a merge conflict. So this is where you're going to get a merge conflict. So I'm going to start off by creating a 4th paragraph. Oh, I know. Nope. And what's the steps again? But this time I'm going to push it to my master branch. No, let's make some changes. I'll show you a bunch of things that can go wrong, so you can get an idea. So I made some changes, and now I'm going to create a branch. So git checkout dash b. Yep. What should we call it?
Wow.
Feature wow. I'll call it.
Wow. Much wow.
Yep. Okay. It's saying, but could you see here though? It says M. It's saying, hey, this file's been modified. Just letting you know, this has been modified. You haven't done anything with it. It doesn't have any problems, but you could get into some trouble later. Could. It depends what you end up doing. So, and you can see it's still showing the file hasn't changed, even though I'm in that branch. So if I go Git Branch, I'm in feature wow. So now I can do a git commit -am. Much wow. Git push. Oh, I gotta do the upstream. Oh, jumping the gun here. Okay, cool. So now, there you go. It's saying, hey, you push this branch. So we can click into that, take a look at it. There it is, fourth para. Wow. But now if I go, let's switch back, and I go git checkout master. Okay. Fourth paragraph's gone. Yep. Oh, actually, I like that. That looks cool. Now do another commit. So you see what I'm doing? Okay. So now I've pushed that one. So if I switch to master, I've got the boo commit. And if I switch to wow, I've got the wow commit. And if you want to, for the visual people out there to work, trying to work out what's going on, it was Insight, wasn't it? Network. You can see they, even though they're not, one is ahead of another, it sort of comes down here and it's coming out this way. And they both touch the same lines. Okay. So now if I go git, now I want to bring wow into master. So what branch am I in? Let's take a look. I don't know if I changed branches. Nope. So I go git merge feature -wow. Bam. That's conflicts. Do you see that? Conflicts. There's a merge in README. It says automatic merge failed. Fix conflicts, then commit the results. Okay. So what does that mean? I just come back across. Do not push this, by the way. Don't force it. There are commands for forcing a commit. Don't push the commit. Deal with it. If you don't know how to deal with it, call one of us. It's perfectly normal. There are people in industry today that I can tell you 100% would still call on someone to be like, I have no idea how to fix this commit because it's just completely tangled together. There have been, let's see if Lavanya can say similar stories. Did you have stories where you spent days trying to fix a tangled commit? Yeah, I can tell you from experience that I know Leo, for those who met him yesterday, has spent a day sorting out a commit that someone screwed up. These things happen. It's fine. It's better to speak up while it's a problem than to, push it under the rug and then just explode later. Yeah. And again, in industry, talk up about it. Like it's fine. So this is what it looks like. And Visual Studio Code's being a little bit generous, but normally what you see is there's no highlighting. It'll give you this that says head, this that says wow, and basically it's saying this is the current branch you're on, and this is the branch that you are merging from. Which one of these two do you want? That's what it's asking me. Do you want this or do you want this section? So this line in the middle, this equal sign, that's the separator of the two. Okay? So now we have to pick, do we want boo or do we want wow?
I would
So-
do it because you've got them next to each other, like maybe if they're on really different, like 100 lines separated.
Yeah, they can be. So you could have this open up here, have 100 lines here, and then a line separating, and then another 100 lines coming down here. That's why you get tangled in these for days or whatever. Trying to sort out which one do you want, and sometimes the solution is you might just want both. And maybe this might be that situation. Oh, I accidentally clicked the button. So you can click these buttons on here as well. If it's something like you could choose, you could even do compare, and it shows you like this. It's a very nice view. These are completely fine to use. Use these tools; they will help you. But let's say in my situation, if I can close this. Let's say in my situation, I went, oh, actually, why don't we have both? We have fourth paragraph, boo, wow, or something like that. Well, I can even just type that in. I don't have to worry about any of this, and I can just say, you know what? Don't need this garbage anymore. I can just go like that. It's not a thing you have to pick an option. You can actually just type over it. If you wanted, that's my new option now. Do you know what I mean? You can do it however you like. If you wanted, you could pick one of those two. I'm showing you the most extreme case that I don't want either. I want both. So that's the extreme case. I've chosen both. And now I have to do another commit. So I have to go git, commit, or even an add if you want to be careful, because you might want to add or stage them individually. So you might want to go git add readme, git commit, -m, fixed merge conflict between master and feature wow. Cool. Git push. Obviously, before you do the push, you might want to test it. I don't have anything to test. It's just a text file. But if it's a CSS or a HTML, just open it up. Make sure it still looks like the way you want it to look and not scrambled mess. But once you're happy, push it up. And this will probably move this one up to the master. Oh, there we go. That's what I was expecting. Something that looks like that, where the arrow comes down. So that's it fixed there. And I can come down, and I can see here. There you go. Make sense? There's not really much else that could catch you off guard, I don't think. I guess when we come across them, we'll deal with them at the time. But those are the main issues that you'll probably come across. Yeah. Any questions?
Is that conflict thing where that line's highlighted and it gave you the option? Is that native to Visual Studio Code, or do we import?
I'm pretty sure it's there. If you've got this icon on your Visual Studio Code, which says source control, it should be there. Yeah. It only happens if you change the same line. So do you want to see one more example where it merges nicely with each other? Yeah, one more example where it merges nicely. Okay. I don't know. Let's just say from here to here, I had 1,000. This is the 1,000th message that I'm posting up. So let's commit that. It does me. The master. There we go. For a second, I was like, which branch am I in? So I want to commit that to this branch first. Is it thousandths or hundredths? A thousandth. Oops, forgot to put the dash A next to it. Okay. So don't worry, Git conflicts aren't always going to happen. It's when you change the same line in two different places. Okay? So in this situation, watch this. So if I go git checkout -b for new, is it a -b or no b for this one? If I'm wanting to create a new branch. Yeah. We'll call it feature successful merge. Cool. So I've created a new feature called it successful merge, and I'm sitting in here. Now I can put in Oh yeah. So what do you want me to do? I can delete some lines between these two. I can maybe change this blank line to be saying hello class, or hello Gentech, I'll call it. Doesn't really work, Gentech. So you see I've deleted some lines, I've changed one of the lines, save it, git commit -m -am. Hello class. Git push. Oh, yep, that's right. It was the first time. So I got to do the upstream. Okay. And I can do, now I can do a git push. If I didn't do it already. All right. Okay, it's pushed. Everything's up to date now. I can go git checkout master. Okay, so now it looks like this again. Took a second. There you go. And now I can do git merge. Oh, no, feature successful merge. And it's saying I've removed 3 lines, I added 1. If I come back, bam. No issues there. It's if I make, so the only time you'll get a merge conflict is if you have 2 branches and they both made changes to the same line at some point. And then they try to merge in at the same time. Git doesn't know which one is the right one because both of them are new changes. So it's trying to say, well, this one was done yesterday and this one was done today, but this change wasn't in here, so this person didn't know about it. Which one did you want? Does that make sense? But if Git knows about the changes that you've already made, then it's not going to care less. Yeah. That's a successful merge.
Cool.
Awesome. Any other questions?
Give a merge the master into a branch.
Yes. Yeah. Do you want me to do it now? Or it's basic when? When would be when you're working in a team, and you know someone else is going to be merging into master or committing into master or pushing into master or whatever. Then you'll be like, well, now I'm behind. I don't have the latest code from master, and I'm fixing master, so I need to pull the code from master first, or merge in from master into my branch. Make sure my code still works, and I'm not getting any conflicts within myself. And then once it's all good, then I can go back into master and merge back the other way. Yep. Any other questions? Yep.
So the Git Branch -d, that's just deleting your local branch.
Yes. Yep. So if you want to delete the one on origin,
Git Push origin.
Yeah, there's other options as well. The other way, if you want to delete a branch, is from the origin. You can come into here, go to branches, and there's a delete button here. Yep.
Can you rename a branch just
It's
without deleting it?
I think you have to create a branch and then delete the existing one, and then the new branch will keep the history of the old one that you deleted.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's almost like when we were renaming files in terminal, we were doing the whole move. So we were saying instead of moving it, we were moving it into the same folder with a different name. Yeah. I think everyone's comfortable with Git now, I think.
Yeah.
Relatively.
Yeah, it makes a lot more sense seeing it like that.
Yeah. Okay. I went for an hour. Okay, I'll stop that.